members of my family called Rock Springs, Wyoming home during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Aoki. I'm the producer-director of Pioneers of Rock Springs. 30 years ago, my mother was dying of cancer. She was one of 9 children, and I had heard these stories growing up in Los Angeles about my great-grandparents and their children. I realized that a lot of these family stories were going to pass on because my mother was going to be gone soon, and so then I took that opportunity to collect stories from her as well as from her 8 siblings, and it gathered dust for 30 years. About a year ago, I was asked to write a newsletter article about their experiences in Rock Springs, Wyoming. It got some traction. I was asked to speak at an online event, and I thought, rather than be a talking head, why don't I make it easy on myself? I'll put together a PowerPoint presentation, drawing upon my corporate background because I'm a retired high-tech executive. Then as I started to do that, I thought, hey, this is lame, it's going to be boring. I think I'll make a video. I won't even need to introduce the thing. I can just hit play and let the video speak for itself. And once I started down that road, I ended up making a draft video of what you saw tonight. People liked it. The production quality was pretty low. The photos were boring. They were black and white. Long story short, I went down a path of making several revisions, colorizing, getting archival photos from various sources from the family as well as off the internet, doing some research. At the end, people were telling me that the audio was terrible, and some experienced filmmakers were saying, hey, that's the most important thing if the audio sucks. So then I have a friend who's a YouTuber and had a studio set up in his garage. So I went over there, re-recorded the audio. He balanced it, used the equalizer, and it made it sound like it was recorded by a professional voice actor. And I didn't recognize myself. So I was pleased with the result. I posted it to Reddit on the Wyoming subreddit, and someone from the Wyoming International Film Festival saw it and said, hey, you should submit it to our festival. I submitted it and they accepted it. Once I did that, I realized, hey, there are 11,000 other film festivals I can submit this thing to on Film Freeway. So I just went down the list and I threw money at it, and the second acceptance was from the 307. So here I am. And it's been an interesting journey, sort of accidentally stumbling into this.
So I loved your project, Don. I loved everything about it. It was beautiful, kind of going back in history and kind of telling your family legacy. Since you kind of dipped your toes in the water with this historical piece, are you interested in possibly dabbling a little bit more in filmmaking? Is that something you might want to look into? Did you enjoy the experience at least?
I did enjoy the experience. It's kind of addictive. And what I realized at the end of this is there are a lot of untold stories out there that are part of American history, but people aren't aware of them because they're not part of mainstream history. And in recent years, there's been a lot more attention about stories that are non-traditional, ethnic minorities, from folks that have suffered repression or circumstances that were quite overwhelming. I have an interest in finding more of those stories. I mean, they don't necessarily have to come from my family, but from the broader pool of stories out there, there are a lot of interesting tales that could be told. I think makes them all the more compelling if they're based in truth. In fact, just like John Lane and his detective experience for 40 years helped him make a better film that we just saw. Knowing some of these obscure stories really have the potential for a broader audience. I didn't count the number, but there are probably somewhere between 600 and 1,000 photos originally. In the film, there are probably, most of the photos only were on screen for about 4 seconds. So if you do the math there, that's about 15 photos per minute. So there were about 150 photos. It was kind of overwhelming because there were so many photos. But the thing is, I wasn't satisfied with most of these photos. I used some of the Adobe tools to sharpen them and colorize and crop them appropriately. That's where a lot of the work went into improving the pictures themselves.
It made me proud to know that we have a lot of people making this kind of documentaries here in Wyoming, or a lot of documentaries being made from some of you who are from Wyoming, Colorado, the surrounding area, trying to spread information to the masses and share your gift with us. It was actually I was pretty proud sitting in the audience today, kind of watching it and seeing everybody here watching all of your projects. So I want to thank you all for being a part of the festival, helping us grow this, helping us bring art, culture, and education to Laramie. Laramie, Wyoming. I really hope you all keep making stuff and submitting, because I really want to be up here with you guys again and keep sharing this with everyone. So.